Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, good morning, Bob.
Good morning. I usually don't see myself do that. Does my head really move that quick?
Do you want me to show you a brief reminder?
No, we're good.
We can do that.
No, we're good.
That was captured.
To everyone.
It is true that you're in a different location.
Yes, but not relationship.
Correct. Anyhow, so we've been talking all week about Overwhelm, which clearly we have reached that point. And so this is our weekly wrap-up. It's Saturday. We hope that your Saturday is off to a good start. We started the week with Overwhelm, just kind of defining what it was. And, I think it's sometimes easy and sometimes not easy to understand. There are some people who are in it constantly and don't even realize it. We then led into kind of what causes it and how do we better understand it? How do we deal with it? And then, at the end of the week, we started talking about knowledge gain. And I think that, our conversation yesterday, if you didn't hear it, is probably worthwhile going back and listening to, because I think there were some good nuggets of information about what you could gain from looking back at Overwhelm that you've had. And, and I think it's a topic that we all deal with in one way or another, whether it's in our personal life or business, whatever the case may be. And so I think it was a good conversation to have, especially coming off of a week of talking about uncertainty. Because many times uncertainty leads to overwhelm. So as you think about the week, Bob, share your thoughts a little bit about Overwhelm and where we went this week.
Well, I just looked at the email we sent out and I had a typo in the subject line. I used the word no, not now. And so I'm having a little personal overwhelm that we rushed that and I totally made a mistake. So there's a case in point with Overwhelm that you have so many things that you're trying to do, and we were thinking about different things and going through things, and I just made a mistake. So I think the biggest thing to me in the week is how many people have stopped me in the course of this week and said, I'm so happy you're talking about that. That is like one of the biggest things. I didn't know. I thought I was one of the few people that really dealt with overwhelm. I mean, I know that's silly, but I thought my overwhelm was unique and that I was going through something. And I think we also tend to make our overwhelm the worst overwhelm. It's like a competition. If you tell me, I got 9 things to do today, I come back and go, Tom, I got 12. And then you go, well, I forgot. There are 3 more on my list. And then we have this match to see who has the biggest amount of overwhelm.
Well, and I think the interesting thing is, they're all different.
Yeah,
it's real for what was real for you. You may think is the absolute largest, biggest overwhelm that it could ever be, because it's probably feeling that way for you. Someone else might say the exact same thing and have the exact same feeling. And rather than trying to figure out like who's right or wrong, whose overwhelm is more, just understand that's real. That's what they're dealing with, and that is the reality they're in. And I think that can help us just understand, yeah, everybody's dealing with it. And my overwhelm is really important to me, and their overwhelm is really impacting them. So how can we figure out how to move forward and not let that overwhelm get us stuck? I was talking with a client this morning, actually yesterday morning, because we're recording this. It was today. It was this morning, but that was yesterday. This is Saturday. Sorry. And, they had something happen. They were in the middle of this process, and they had an influence came in and had an impact of what was going on. And they actually sent me a note that was like, my head is spinning. And if I hadn't known that we were talking the next morning, I would have reached out to them, because I know that when someone says their head is spinning, that they're stuck and they are not at all sure what to do, and they're probably overwhelmed, definitely uncertain. And they even shared with me that they just couldn't figure out what to do next or how to move forward, because anytime they tried to be like, well, let me work on this other influence that was significant kept coming up in their head, and they kept going back to it. Well, what am I going to do about this? And how is it going to work out? And what do I need to take care of? And so I think that it hits us sometimes when we're not at all expecting it or prepared for it. And so it does become at that time the biggest thing that's happening with us, and can't imagine how anyone else is feeling this exact same thing that could be possibly comparable.
I think that's it. I think you captured it really well. And I think the other interesting thing to me, Tom, is that we've spent the week talking about it. And as we've talked about all week, we've made lots of discoveries. Like it hit me during the course of the week that if I'm overwhelmed, that means I care about the things I'm doing. Because if you didn't care, you wouldn't be overwhelmed. You'd just be like, man, I don't care. So I missed my deadline. So I don't do that project I promised Tom. So I don't get the book done. No big deal. The fact that I'm overwhelmed is a signal to me that things do matter. And I think that causes me to look at things differently.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing I started thinking about was, the thing that hit me, and I shared it yesterday, was, many people create to-do lists, which in some regards, the point of doing that is to get it all down so it's not rolling around in your head. And yet I often wonder if when you stop and stare at it, does it create clarity or does it create more overwhelm? Because you look at that list and you're like, well, how am I ever going to get that done? And then that list stares at you, and you cross one thing off and three other things think like, oh yeah, I got to do that, that, and that. And the list just grows and grows and grows. And before you know it, you're just staring at it saying, well, they all look important and I don't need to do them all. And so for some people, a to-do list really helps them find clarity. For others, it just creates more overwhelm. And how do we figure out where do we fall in that? And I think that's one of the things that I took away from this is that what we can learn by what we've experienced. So if my experience has been that when I write a to-do list, I look at it and I'm like, oh my heavens, how am I going to get that? How am I ever going to get all that done? I don't have enough time to do it. And then I just get stuck. Whereas others might look at it differently. So as you start to understand what causes your overwhelm and how did you then get out of it, it can help you be better prepared for the next time it might show up, or the next time when there's something coming down the road that I can better plan so that doesn't happen.
I couldn't agree more, Tom. I think that's all we need to say today, right?
You're done, huh? That's all right. So that was your one for the week?
Didn't I do it?
I guess you did, which is good.
I'm kind of mellow today. Not
all
really.
Right. It's Saturday. You're nervous. You're nervous about the Bills Ravens game. That's where
I am. Yes, I am. That's later today. The other thing that's coming up is our workshop series starting Monday. And if you haven't looked at it, please go to the link. Tom or I will put that link for you. And we'll also play a little preview tease for it right now. But it's going to be really great. And it's a great opportunity to really take on how to avoid overwhelm is one of the things I think you get when you get clarity that we're trying to bring to what you're going to do this year. Having clarity is one of the ways to overcome overwhelm.
Yes, it's easy to write goals. And I think many people have written goals, intentions, plans, resolutions. The hard challenge is, what do I do next? What's the first step? Where is that next destination where I can say, all right, I'm making progress. The goal, I can start to see where it's going to be. Where do I need to go next, where it gets closer and closer? And I think we're going to help people try to figure out that next step and that next destination so that they can continue down the pathway for the success that they want to achieve in this current year. So we hope that you will join us. As Bob mentioned, there will be a little video about this coming up shortly. Before that, if you enjoy conversations like this or any that we've had this week and you are not yet a member of the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, we hope you'll go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then it's a private group. It's a community that we are creating and building and encouraging people to be a part of who want to help each other move forward and move themselves and their business forward along their own unique path. Just ask to join. The only thing we ask you to do is tell us why you're a renegade. And then you can be a part of that group. So that's a wrap on this week. Thanks, Bob, for a great week. Thanks, everyone, for listening, participating, and commenting. We will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time for the next edition of Today's Antidote. Have a great weekend, everyone. We will see you soon.
Go Ravens.
Go Bills.
What's your next destination? 2020 was a challenging year for business owners, leaders, and nonprofits. Whether it was a boom, a bust, or a pivot to something new, on December 31st we all reached a destination along our pathway. Whether you sprinted to year-end, took a much-needed break, or created new goals, intentions, or resolutions. Now it is time to chart your next destination with new knowledge, experience, and perspective. Given all that has happened this year, are you clear on what is real for your audience? What to say, how to say it, and where to say it? No matter how your year went, being clear on these things is critical. Even if you have already set long-term goals, taking the next steps can be challenging and confusing. Who can predict what things will look like in the next 3 to 6 months? Charting our next destination provides focus, clarity, and direction. On January 18th to 21st, join our workshop where we will help you identify what your audience needs, craft a message to reach them, and determine where to find them. This interactive and collaborative effort will have you ready to take your next step. Chart your next